In every performance management review, productivity, the tangible achievement of an output, some output, any output, seems to be quite important. One look at the textbook definition, though, is enough to disappoint us a little bit. Well, because the act of producing goods is something that is a very industrial era concept.
In the year of the pandemic, each of us has possibly discovered the pace of work that suits us best. Some of us have slowed down, some of us have learned how to do many things at different times of the day, and some of us have regrettably had really long days stretching from one time zone into the next and filled with numerous chores at home. Productivity has definitely taken on a whole new meaning for each of us.
But how then, in a culture built around sending something out, selling something, shipping something, do you continue to stay productive?
Welcome to season 2 of Small Talk with RainKraft. It's already season 2, and I'm Subha.
And I'm Hasita.
As a company that is in the business of helping people grow, we thought long and hard about what we really need right now. And what we came up with is the idea of short 10-minute episodes that serve as a midday mental health vacation.
Well, we all did enter 2021, but not entirely unscathed. What better way to get over it than to talk it out, right? That's the concept behind season 2 of Small Talk with RainKraft. Why in God's good world would you pick productivity then? I can almost hear you screaming.
Good question. Because today we're going to take the concept and try and turn it inside out a bit so that it begins to serve us better. Shall we, Hasita?
Sure, Subha. Well, you've spent a great deal of last year really going inward. And by that I mean you've been reading a lot, you've been listening a lot. I want to know, why did you turn to the practice of looking inward in the first place? And do you remember a specific instance which made you go, okay, I think it's time to take it slow now?
To be very honest, the pressures placed on me were as unique as the person next to me. For one, I had two kids at home with online school, one preparing for board exams. Then here we were, all of us living and working under the same roof, all travel curtailed. That's when the idea of productivity really began to seem bizarre. If I don't get to my desk until noon on a certain day, does that mean I'm not productive? Or if I don't ship some work the moment it lands in my inbox, is that really me being lazy? I think that's what really got me thinking. How many of these pressures have we put on ourselves? How many of them have become so entrenched in our culture that doing something different feels like a crime?
I have to agree with you here because I felt that guilt quite deeply too. So if I promise something on Monday morning and it's not out by 10 a.m., then I'm devastated. I kept this up across, I think, all areas of my life. So for me, 2020 was like taking a big breath and trying to just hold that in until the year is over. And I used to pride myself on being the person who works only 4 hours a day. And you know this, right? I genuinely believe that a focused and a prepared mind with the right energy can do more in 4 hours than a distracted one can even do in 10 days. And then the pandemic happened, working from the balcony happened, one extremely unhappy child happened. Now, how and where do I find those 4 hours? How do I keep up the commitments that were the anchor of what I used to do?
And in that sense, it has been a shift for all of us. Old ways of working truly do not apply, so why should old measures of productivity? We're slowly moving to hybrid models of work now. We're not used to this. So, what would it be like to set reasonable expectations from ourselves?
I think one reason why perhaps businesses and managers worry about doing exactly that is because there's that little worry about people slacking off. For one, we are not used to trusting things we cannot see. So, where is the guarantee that the other person is really working when they should be? What is the guarantee that I'll get what I'm supposed to at the end of the day? And also, I think that adapting to something does take time. I mean, we've adapted to pajamas and Zoom calls and the idea of no business travel, cats, dogs, children running around in the background. But perhaps there's only so much change that one can accept in one go. I think it'll probably take a little bit more time to accept that, expectations need to change, belief systems need to change. I think that's going to take some time.
True. And I think the point you mentioned about looking inward was more so because as a team, we were already used to working remotely and trusting that the work would get done. So we didn't have to manage each other very differently last year. Because of that, I think the focus turned to self. What can I do for myself and how can I manage myself better? Which is why let's spend a few minutes today talking about how productivity can be now that we have the option to redefine it. Number one, productivity is an energy game. It is time we give each other some pep talks and support each other when we fall behind a little.
Yeah, like I have this one client whom I had to beg and say, please just give me a motivational speech, on our weekly call. Say whatever you want, give me feedback, but just give me that little bit of push to keep going. And he laughed that day, but it seems to be working for the both of us so far. Yeah.
Excellent. Folks, perhaps a point to note. Everyone could use a good pep talk. Number two, consider what it would take for you to go deeper. Is it a couple of hours of undistracted time? Is it knowing that work is over at 4 p.m. every day? Is it looking forward to your hobby in the evening?
So true. Too often, we behave as though the entire waking time is meant for work. We think about work the first thing in the morning and we think about it last thing when we wind down. We meander to the coffee cup, to the bathroom, but there we are again with no sense of beginning or an end. There needs to be an end to the workday. Let's start a campaign to end workdays at 5 p.m., please.
I'm with you. Number three, just for a week, make a list of all work related tasks you do. Every single thing. I mean, going to a client's place, coming back, waiting for someone to show up on Zoom, finishing that one little thing that wasn't there originally on the list, and yes, even the Netflix breaks. Then at the end of the week, evaluate how much of it your heart was really in. If you find that number to be super low, don't be distracted because that's all of us, especially some point during last year. But what this exercise does it gives you a chance to really see where your time goes.
And as they say, you cannot build a bridge over the water you cannot see. I find that a running checklist usually helps. And I have been using this app called Notion, slightly complicated, but a good one, nevertheless. Whew, I already sense the relief of having more control over time. That thing that always seems to run away from all of us, right? I also want to mention a couple of things here. One, definitely, is to be gentle on ourselves. And if any of these processes feel like a punishment, we really do not need more anxiety in our lives right now. It's okay to drop it. The other thing is, none of these exercises are set in stone. So if you get bored of one, switch to the other. Or if you have new ideas, send us a voice note and we'll join you.
And on that note, we'd like to sign off. Wishing you a happy, mindful, relaxed week and weekend ahead. Did you enjoy the episode? Did it make you think of something? You can also head over to our blog section and look at what we've put down in terms of the various productivity thoughts and ideas that are floating out there and how to make it work for you.
And what does productivity really mean to you now? We'd love to know and we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you for listening to Small Talk with RainKraft. We'd love to hear from you too. Drop us a voice note at speakpipe.com/RainKraft. That's speakpipe.com/RainKraft. We'd love to hear your stories, feedback, and topic requests. Small Talk is now available across a whole range of podcast platforms. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, Castbox, Anchor, and so many more. Do visit our website for direct links. Bye.